I want to get into the second half, of what we were going to talk about. I want to get a little bit more ditty gritty into your journey. I know not only have you actually done, or you obviously you have your own convention, but you are obviously an avid convention goer yourself in terms of
Right.
being able to market your brand for urban style comics. So, what I want to know, because this is even for me, this is for everyone else out here, who is on the convention scene, no matter what group you're with or whatever, and this can help you. I want people to listen because even if you're in the manga space, this is going to help you. Believe it. It's going to help you. And I know I'm wearing the Naruto shirt and I said believe it, so please don't say me for that. But in any case, how many conventions do you go to a year, would you say? On average, I know it may vary depending on the year, but like if you'd say maybe in the past 10 years, like every year, like how many would you say?
I try to make it to at least 5 conventions. I want to do more or whatever, but I have to get into particular conventions that I want to get back into. Like, want to get back into the San Diego Comic Con. I think I'm ready to get back there now. New York Comic Con, I would like to get back there again. Of course, Motor City Comic Con because that's local. We got the Black Comic Books Arts Festival that takes place in New York. That's pretty huge. We have, of course, Motor City Black Age. We have Kim Fest, which is in Jersey. I would like to get into BlurredCon, but I think BlurredCon is more for cosplayers. I'm not for sure, but from what I was told, that's the case. But I would like to go for myself just to see. I may just go visit it and check it out and see what it's all about before I make that decision. So it's usually about 5 a year, but I'm trying to, at this point, now I can start getting into doing more cons. But it has to be more this that's geared towards Black comic book creators. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Because I feel that when you do certain cons that are mainstream cons, it's a lot of money to do those cons. And if you're catching a plane to these cons, it's no way you can take all of your merchandise there to sell. You can take it, but you have to ship it. And if you're shipping it, that's, the cost of it is just crazy. But if you can drive to it, that's no issue at all because you can take a lot. But the thing of the matter, how much you're spending for that con, how much you're spending as far as your, stay there, your travels. You have in your when you're eating, your food, all that good stuff, lodging, all that has to be thought out. So that's what determines how many cons you do, and what do you think is going to help you out in the long run. And I do other events as well. Like if someone's doing something and they invite me, like I have in Detroit, it's a Dow show that's coming up in November. Sandy's Land it's a Dow show she's doing in November at Marygrove College. We'll be participating in that because of course I have the Dreadlocks action figures. So I got to have those there with, of course, my books as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And that's local. So you have a lot of local events that's starting to kick off as well. And we have to think of it in the sense of you don't necessarily have to hit a Comic Con in order to get the recognition and get yourself out there, believe it or not. And I've learned that through the years from when I used to go to African World Festival or the Caribbean festivals out in Chicago. And I learned that from Brother Dawood when he was telling me about the Black Expos back then. Because I would go to Chicago Black Expo, St. Louis Black Expo, and Indianapolis Black Expo. And man, they love what we were doing back then. And still to this day, I'm sure if I popped up in one of those, it would be the same love. But now it's more material now. So I look at doing 5 a year, where I'm not burnt out or whatever, because really I'm solo on it now because my partner, he's in Philadelphia. He's trying to get back into doing the comics again, which I'm sure he will be getting back in, Brother Khalil Panea. He'll be getting back in real soon. He's almost done with his story. I got my nephew, Caleb, which Shay, you know who Caleb is.
Yeah.
We get ready to start on his book real soon, and
Oh,
because I'm trying to get his ready for this Urban Nerd Con that I'm going to in July down in Atlanta, and trying to have his stuff ready for when I go down there. So trying to get him in, get Jerron, he getting into it too, so get him focused as well. So yeah, we're gonna be hitting more cons. So it's a matter of time.
this
So is
sounds like an independent, like selling mixtapes out the trunk. Got a lot of hip
Basically,
hop influence and how you
yes,
rhyme and moving. I
yes,
like it.
yes. I've done that all ever since I've started Urban Style Comics because that's the only way. Because you
Yeah,
got to think about it. Now you really don't have the bookstores. We didn't really
right.
have bookstores back then, but we had more than you do now. But I've always been one of them types that I'm selling out the trunk of my car.
Mm.
so is there a determining factor when you go to shows whether or not you decide, hey, you know what? I don't want to do this show anymore. This show is kind of this way, or oh, you know what? I'm gonna do this show. In fact, I'm gonna pour, you know, $300 into
Mhm.
printing, more inventory, for books, or like what is your determining factor whether or not you continue to do a show? And then also, we kind of asked Todd Johnson this before too, like how much do you take to a show in terms of
That's
like
a good
inventory?
question.
Well, it's several things. I'm not going to name this show particular or whatever, but I did a show last year. I think last year. Took my wife there, my dog, got a nice little hotel room. I'd done the show before and I made pretty good, but the show was only like a 2 day show back then. No, it was a 1 day show back then. So they ended up making it a 3 day show. And when I did it, I walked out with nothing. Think I sold maybe 5 books tops. I was really pissed off about it. The individual asked me at the Motor City Comic Con when he seen me, was I going to come back to the show again? And I told him, well, I'm thinking about it, which actually I will be on vacation at the time, but I don't think I will do that show again. Even though I had done well prior to that particular year. But if I have a bad year like that,
Mm.
a bad show, the chances of me doing that show again is very slim.
Mm.
Even if I did have a good show the year before.
Yeah.
Reason being because I see the direction that your show is going in, and it's not a direction that's going to be beneficial for me financially.
Mm.
Right.
As far as my books are concerned, I'm not one of these people that print out 50 books and go to a show and say, "Hey, I sold out." I'm not doing that because I've seen an individual do that a couple of months ago. They went to a show and then they posted all over social media that they sold out. So
Mm.
one thing about me, I'm not going to be all over social media telling people what I sold and all that kind of good stuff because really it's none of their business.
Mm.
And the thing is, if I'm doing good, I'm doing good, and people will know that. I just like to post pictures of how much fun I was having at the show. That
Mm.
fun calculates into the dollars that I made. If you see all the pictures, okay, all right, yeah, he's making pretty good. So I'm not going to sit up and say I made, $1,000, $2,000, $220. None of that. Not gonna do that. But needless to say, the determining factor is when I do a show and it's a bust, I may not ever do it again. As far as how many books I take, I also do merchandise as well. And I say that because why? Merchandise sells. You figure if the young ladies come to the table and say they're not into comics or whatever, they got their kids that want a book, they'll buy a book or a poster or print. But they'll turn around and see the T-shirts, be like, "Whoa, I think I want to get a T-shirt."
Mm-hmm.
So merchandise is everything. So people have to learn to build their merchandise up as well when they're out here doing the shows. Uh, but as far as how many books I have to take, I have to take more than enough to be honest. Not to, I don't take all my books to sell them out. I just take more than enough just in case I'm getting to the point of selling out. And selling out to me is like a good 500 books. I like to take over that amount. So when you take that, I like to at least sell over half, a little bit over half of that. Then I'm doing real good. Because if you look at like, say, the Motor City Comic Con, I'll throw that out there. The show is not really an expensive show, but it's a good show because you can take 700 to 1,000 books, sell half of them, and you've already made your lodging, your food, and your table. The whole thing is making all of that and then making more. Once you make more, then you're making money. That's my determining factor of why I would do Motor City Comic Con again. Now, I probably won't do it twice a year because they do have the event in October. The October show was pretty slow, but it was still good, lucrative, but it wasn't what it is in May. And the reason why I won't do it in October, do it twice a year, is because sometimes I may see the same people over and over, and I'm one of these people. I really don't like seeing the same people over and over again, unless it's the fans or whatever. I like to see them over again, but sometimes you see people that's just walking by the booth all the time, which are the same people that's been walking by the past 5 years.
Right.
It's like, what's their purpose of even being here? Or you get those that come up to your booth and say, "What's this? Dude, you at a Comic-Con. What do you think it is? Are you serious?" So needless to say, right. So needless to say, I like to take enough to try to sell out. That's the whole thing. If I have leftover books, then it is what it is. Because when I go to New York to the Black Comic Book Arts Festival, you will sell out. You have to take 1,000+ books there. Because if they're coming to every single table to buy something, you know, they are not playing around out there. There's a difference out there. And when when the doors opened this last time, I wasn't even expecting what happened. I was like, it was too much going on. But at the same time, I made it happen. I didn't, I didn't get nervous and say, "Oh, I can't do this." No. They came in. One little kid, he handed his mom 2 T-shirts. Bought both T-shirts. That's $50 right there.
Yeah.
You know, so I say that as far as the price is concerned, is because now we're looking at me making the money now. $8. Now we're looking at $25 selling it. What's that profit margin there? $17.
Mm-hmm.
So looking at that, that's when you're looking at making money.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to have your merchandise.
Exactly. You sell 4 T-shirts for $25. That's $100.
$100 right there. Now exactly. You haven't even sold a book yet. Now you're selling your book at $5 to $10.
Right.
Now you got your graphic novel you selling for $20.
Exactly.
And they're selling left and right.